Hey, this is Jim McDonald. Welcome to episode 246 of the PowerCast. Our guest for this episode is JP Price. JP is one of those guys that has walked out and squatted a Grand Raw. Not that many guys have ever done that. He is such a positive guy and has such a strong feeling about developing a community of lifters. He is, after the first of the year, going to be running a gym in Kansas. Yes, our second Kansas lifter this month. But anyway, be sure to check out this episode. He's got a lot of great things to say. We'll be back on Friday. Like and share this episode, and we'll talk to you then. Support for this episode of the PowerCast comes from Precision Nutrition, home of the world's top nutrition coaches. Head over to get.pn/PowerCast for a free nutrition course, especially for PowerCast listeners, focusing on the role of carbs. That's get.pn/PowerCast. Reebok.com, home of the Legacy Lifting shoe, the official shoe of the PowerCast at Reebok.com. Ape Man Strong apparel for people who lift heavy weights at ApeManStrong.com. Compex Muscle Stim products at CompexUSA.com. Use the code PowerCast for an additional 28% off all but the lowest price model. HowMuchYouBench.net. Use the code PowerCast for 15% off slingshots and free shipping on orders over $100. And Bodybuilding.com, the world's largest fitness website and supplement store. Bodybuilding.com has free plans for every level. Visit bodybuilding.com today to become your best self. Mark Bell's PowerCast is also sponsored by Health IQ, an insurance company that helps weightlifters get special life insurance rates. They're also the official life insurance partner of USA Weightlifting. To see if you qualify, get your free quote today at healthiq.com/PowerCast or mention the promo code PowerCast when you talk to a Health IQ agent. Our sponsor, Bodybuilding.com, has over $100 worth of supplements and Bodybuilding.com swag to give to a lucky person. Here's what you need to do to become eligible for this, to become eligible to be chosen to win this prize package. You're going to tag 3 friends on the post for this episode, which is 246, on Instagram at Mark Bell's PowerCast. Going to follow at Mark Bell's PowerCast and Bodybuilding.com, which is at BBCom, and Mark Smelly Bell on Instagram, and the Jim McD on Instagram. Ain't gonna kill you to do all that stuff, and you could win over $100 worth of Bodybuilding.com stuff.
Recorded live in West Sacramento, California, this is Mark Bell's PowerCast. Standing just to the left of Jim McD, here's your host, Mark Bell.
We're more live than we were before.
We're totally live now.
Feels
We're
so
actually
live.
recording on 2 devices and 3 cameras, and so we should be set.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? We were just talking a little bit about wrestling. You a wrestling fan?
I was in high school, especially. I was into some Raw. That was good.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was that time where you were getting the best of the ECW and the, ECW, and you were getting the best of the WCW and the WWE or WWF at the time, and they all came together. That was a blast.
Oh no, it was an amazing era because they were all battling for ratings. You know, ECW was kind of the shit league, where everyone just beat the hell out of each other with chairs, and they'd light tables on fire, and they would do all kinds of crazy shit, bleed and jump into the crowd and do really wild stuff. But even though that was a smaller federation, it still drove the other two, which is really cool because they were on like a limited budget, and it was real grassroots. But the fans loved it.
How much did they? How much money do you think they made on the hardcore title? You know, in those years. And but the real golden age was when my mom used to like take us to see Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant.
Yeah,
that was the best.
So you grew up with it.
Yeah,
you grew up checking some of it out
with some breaks in between.
Who's your favorite? You got a favorite?
That has to be the Ultimate Warrior for me. He was so jacked up, you know. Yeah. He was like just a bomb waiting to explode all the time. I love that guy.
He sprinted to the ring. I don't know if you'd be able to do that and then still be able to wrestle.
Deceivingly fast. I wrestled in high school. I felt like I was maybe a little bit better at that than football, but football was a more fun, easier sport. And I still love wrestling. I coached high school wrestlers for a little while, and And I love the sport of wrestling for sure, especially amateur.
I think when people are big for most of their life, though, I don't think it impedes their athletic performance. You know, like we have Treston Schull's been with us for a long time. He's always been a heavier guy, but he can still do like splits and like I mean, I don't know if he can do a split now, but for a long time he was still able to do one without training, without doing anything.
Toe touches.
Yeah, jump up in the air and do like toe touches and all kinds of weird stuff. So when I was watching you squat today, and you're how much do you weigh?
Over 375.
Yeah, he's a big JP is a big motherfucker. You know, let's just say that. You move great. Your squat form was excellent.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with the mechanics. So have you always been able to move pretty well?
You know, since wrestling and football and all that stuff, I grew up skating, like inline skating and playing roller hockey, and that actually developed the hips and butt and
roller
the legs.
hockey.
It makes sense.
I used to skate. Like, I'd put my skates
have him roll
on.
into you.
We had this trail by my house, and I would skate like 20 miles and come back. I mean, I'm still super fat. I got a lot of cardio, but my mom cooks awesome. So, but I've always been able to move. And then, I mean, I probably challenged like 5 people to a race this weekend. Okay, and
That's great.
We could race after this if you want. I'm ready to go. But
I'm gonna blow something out. Probably.
well, and then at Jesse's gym last night, I did some double unders. So
nice.
I did before powerlifting. I was doing CrossFit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a lazy big guy. I just want to do stuff. I've always been able to move and be athletic and play sports, and I have to do something competitive. Or
You
I
were
won't be
training
very
at a
happy.
CrossFit gym?
Yeah, I was training in a CrossFit gym by my house in Kansas City, and they were like, you know, you're really strong. You should try to do something with that.
What made you go into a CrossFit gym?
So it was right by my house, and I was involved in high school wrestling, and the guys that ran the CrossFit gym were old wrestlers. And so they're like, hey, these guys own that gym, and I was just training in my garage, you know, here and there. And I've always been a garage gym guy from like 22 to 28.
Those coaches must have saw you coming and been like, "Oh fuck,
Well,
this guy's gonna want to get on the rings. He's gonna make the roof fucking collapse."
Well, I mean, there's some stuff I really wasn't good at, and there's some days I was really having fun, and really, I mean,
Were you able to do some Olympic lifting and stuff?
Poorly, yeah.
But
I mean,
you're probably still strong enough to throw some good weight around.
I could
right?
clean in the 300s, and you know, I loved the pressing and all that stuff. But when I showed up and it was jump over bar burpees, I wanted to put a gun in my head. I was having a horrible day. But if it was deadlifts or pressing or any of that stuff or squatting, I was having a great day. But at one point, I was getting my strength back there, and they were like, well, you really should do something fun with that. And I started trying to Olympic lift because I really was attracted to it. I thought it was a cool sport.
Yeah.
Quickly found out you should probably be younger to start that. I mean, it's a great sport, but there's just, for me, the flexibility was so poor in the overhead position.
There's certain sports that are meant for younger people to develop through, like gymnastics, stuff like that, figure skating.
Yeah. And so that got me quickly into powerlifting in a weird way. So I'm literally at a barbershop for the first time I've ever been there. Somebody from the wrestling team was like, hey, go get your haircut here. And I show up. There's this big jack dude in the chair, tattooed everywhere, getting a mohawk shaved into his head with a straight blade. And I was like, man, you're a strong – I mean, the guy's built like you. He's a big guy. He's a bench-only specialist. And he was
Watch
like –
out for those bench-only guys.
I know, right? I don't trust anybody who won't do 3 lifts.
Yeah, come on now.
And so he's like, hey, if you are strong, you should meet this guy named Ben. He's a power lifter. He trains at my gym. You guys would go together great. I get him on Facebook the next day. We're training together, and it was in November 6 years ago, and a month later I did my first meet. And then 4 months later, I put like 250 pounds on my total. I had never maxed out. I had done hypertrophy, little to my knowledge, for 18 years or whatever. And so now I'm 21 years in, and I'm finally figuring out what it was all for.
Ben is really strong, so he was probably like, you know, excited to have someone that can lift with him, but at the same time, he was probably like, holy shit.
Yeah. We started like, you know, pretty even, and then I was getting bigger than him, and he was losing weight, and so we've kind of gone up and down, and he's a good deadlifter, and I'm a good squatter. He's a good squatter. I'm a better bencher.
What's his best squat?
His best squat, I think, is 865.
And he did that with knee wraps, probably, right?
Knee reps, and then benching 500, just over 507, I think, and deadlift 804.
And then he also completed multiply too, right?
Way back, and not for a long time.
Okay.
It was when he was, I think it was right after he was a pro strongman, because he got his pro card and just kind of didn't do it anymore. And that's kind of something I'd like to do in the next 2 years, because I like strongman too, and I do it a little bit, especially in my off season. Like this year, I didn't bench for like 8 months. I just did log pressing, and I had fun with it. I did a strongman over the summer and had a blast.
Yeah, you're insanely strong with the log press.
I just needed some time off.
What kind of weight can you do in log press?
The best I did was I cleaned 500 and I pressed 430. Wow. And I think the American record's Oberst at 465. So I was like, man, I bet if I tried for a while. Yeah. I mean, I was at 405 without any practice.
It's a tough thing to get better at, though. You kind of notice that, like it's you gain 5 pounds on that bitch, and it's a real accomplishment.
Any
right?
PRs on the log press are big PRs.
Yeah.
Really, because it's a very intricate lift. Like you can't breathe with the weight overhead hardly. You can't. I mean, there's the technique from picking it up to clean. I mean, it's a very technical lift. I was working on it with Pig Thursday.
Yeah.
And it's not the easiest lift to learn, and but I'm inclined to it, so I want to learn more about it quickly, and it's been fun. I like that a lot.
And you squatted over 1,000 pounds just in knee wraps, right?
Yeah, so a year and a half ago at the U.S. Open, Gracie's meet in San Diego, I squatted 1,003.
Were you the first guy to walk the weight out and squat it? Is that right?
First American, because Andre had done it before.
Yeah, because he always walks out, even when he has a monolith.
Yeah, same here though.
Yeah.
We practice in one, but so 1,003 squat, and then I was the first guy. It's still the only guy I think that's ever squatted 1,000 and bench 600 on the same day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's a few that have done. I did 960 and 639 at the Reebok Record Breakers when you guys were there, and there's actually been, I think Derek Kindle did that, and I think there might be one or two others.
I like that consistency across the board, like Stan Efforting. He squatted over 8, he benched 6, and then he pulled 8.
Right.
What's your best deadlift?
Well, in the new Black Stan Efforting, Larry, he's the same way. He's 8, 6, 8. I mean,
yeah, that's really rare. Like, there's still not that many guys who have been able to really accomplish
that's
that.
why they're all-time world record holders.
Yeah.
I mean, really. So for me, my best deadlift's 765, and people are always like, well, I've seen you do 941 on the trap bar, or with straps you've done 825 or more, and like my grip's not very good, and I treat it like my third best lift, honestly. I mean, if it's gonna be treated that way, it's gonna respond that way.
Right.
So.
Well, something I noticed with Brian Shaw, Kaylor Woolham, and some other people, it's almost like when they deadlift, they are able to get such good leverage on it. They're able to get so low on, down to the bar. They almost have they have more than enough flexibility to get in position for the lift. And I think a guy like yourself with arms that are maybe more built for benching, not necessarily the deadlift,
right?
And in combination of being big, it's hard to get down in that position. So I think
not easy.
I think your grip is like one thing, but I think it's more than just your grip.
Right.
I think it's about that positioning from the bottom.
Yeah, it's there's probably 3 or 4 things, and that's why it's frustrating to work on, right?
Yeah.
So if I want to get better at the squat, maybe I'm working on one thing, like my sticking point with chains. Okay, so that's easy to address. Well, now we're addressing, supination with this hand. Your leverages suck. You should lose a little weight. It's tough to get down there and be tight. So now we're working on 3 or 4 things at a time. So much harder lift to get better at, but it's also the lift where I could get the most better at soon.
Yeah.
So if I pay attention to that should inflate my total the best.
You're also so wide across the front that turning your hand under and having your palm flat and having it kind of even with your shoulder, which is what most people do, your hands would be out pretty wide.
Yeah, I'm on the rings.
And then you got, your hands are already out there.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you're almost performing like a snatch grip deadlift. You're not too far away from doing that. Do you have to lift the weight up over your dick?
Yes.
Wait a second. I'm always trying to figure out the math.
Just the tip.
I'm always watching like Kyler or old Lamar Gant videos, and I'm like, why does he get to finish 2 inches over his knees, and I'm finishing 2 inches over my penis?
Yeah.
I don't understand this. Sometimes it doesn't feel good either.
And sometimes it does.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah,
yes, it's great.
And then you at Jesse Burdick's meet, I think it was last year, you hit a 639 bench.
Yeah.
That's some uncharted territory. There's not a lot of guys. There's that 600 barrier is a barrier for a lot of people, but then also it's really rare to see someone really go much over that 606 mark. You see a couple guys flirting with it, but 639 is how many people like. That's really rare territory, right?
Yeah, so like I think in the list of top 20, I've looked at it a couple of times, and all the top 20 all-time totals, right? I think that bench at the time, and it's probably been bumped down 2 spots since, but
some strong people out there.
Yeah, at the time, that was the number 20th bench of all time, right? Jeez. On the top 20 list. Yeah. They like tied, or it was 19th or something like that. And there's a couple guys with pound plates that did 640. And then, so back then, you know, pretty competitive bench for sure. But then in the top 10 totals, it was like number 1 or 2.
Nice.
Right. So it's for the full meat lifters, it's a little bit more rare to have your bench be that high for sure.
Kazmaier.
Yeah.
Kazmaier is kind of the gold standard with a 661, right?
Totally.
And then I think, you know, Kirill Serkev, if he, you know, decides to do more full power, then he's got, you know, what, a 740 bench or whatever.
He can do whatever he wants. Yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
He pulls close to 9. What do you think of all these people? So, like, how long have you been powerlifting for?
6 years.
So in that time frame, things have changed a lot from when you started, right? I mean, it's just insane how the women are going bonkers, the men are going bonkers. It's crazy to see the weights that are being moved.
Well, think about this. So in the super heavyweight group, which is what I'm most familiar with, so Reinhardt had the record for total without knee wraps on for about 40 years, I think. And it was like 29.93. And then so in 2016, Josh Morris breaks that early in the year with like 23 or
He's
20.
Fat too.
Yeah, totally. He looks like me. 29.99 or something like that. Way more handsome, Josh. Yeah. And I think he did 29.99, beat it by a couple kilos, and then he beat it again and was 23.03, and then like Ray beat it, and then I beat it. Ray beat me 2 hours later. So we changed the record 5 times in 1 year that hadn't been changed for 40 years.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then where does it sit now?
So now Ray has it up over 2,400, and it feels hard.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be
huge.
It's going to be tough to beat, huh?
Oh, he's so special, you know.
What is his best squat? He did like what, 1,020 or something? Like that?
I think maybe 1036.
Wow.
He attempted 1050, I think, and failed it. But he's up over 1030, and he's an amazing squatter.
That's unbelievable. And he's deadlifting 800 pounds.
Yeah, when his deadlift, again, and the deadlift, if you can get a hold of that, because he was kind of like me, stuck in the 700s and dropping weights at weird times, and it wasn't really going anywhere, and then it just went 840.
No, that's impressive. It's impressive whenever you see somebody fix something that's kind of their Achilles heel, you know, and he's able to go back and patch it up.
Right.
So when you're going to these, to a lot of these meets, where do you usually compete at?
So typically,
you go all over the place.
I started out doing like, you know, a couple local shows, and I went out. I competed at one of Brandon Lilly's meets years ago. That was fun to do, and because I was following the Cube at the time, and so that was cool. And then I've been out to Gracie's meet in the U.S. Open, and then I did Jesse's meet.
I was down in San Diego, right?
Yeah. So actually, 3 weeks before Jesse's meet last year, I did one that was semi-local. And that's when I set the all-time world record and then got beat by Ray that day. And so that was cool. And that was kind of a tune-up for the next meet.
Right.
And because that was my first meet ever in sleeves. I'd never done a meet in sleeves before. So I did like 930 squat there, and then at Jesse's I did 960. So I was trying to really figure out how I could maximize every single lift, and I was using that meet to gauge it, but then saw the chance to take the record, so I did.
Right.
And then I did Jesse's meet. So my thing has always been is I want to compete. I want to be, you know, against really good other competitors.
Gotcha.
I want really high standards too, but if I go to some place where I don't know if I'm going to get those, then I'll keep those standards as best as I can. But I like the USPA personally because there's a lot of accountability.
Right.
And so those are the meets that I host and where I referee and stuff like that. But so I really do like that. That's one thing I really like about the Open is a lot of really great lifters went to the Open last year, the US Open in May. And they got a little surprised by how hard it was.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good though. But I don't think anybody got upset about it. I think they all felt great to be held accountable, and now you'll kind of find out like, hey, this is where you can go to put it on the line, but then also make it tough.
It's tough sometimes. I think Jim and I have seen this many times where we go to these big contests and everybody's all excited, and I think people forget, they lose sight that the refs, they're fans too, and they don't want it. I mean, they're going to give a red light if the lift is bad, but it's like you got to go out of your way to make it bad sometimes. And if somebody's squatting 900 pounds, and I'm a huge fan, like I want to give you every opportunity to make the lift. I want to give you a white light.
Yeah, that's why I'm so strict about mine, because my first 900 plus squat was 937 at the Chicago Fit Expo in the USPA a couple years ago, and the guy who's the head of their judges now red lighted it, and I was like, well, I don't ever want to have one of those again. And I got 2 good ones, but whatever. And so then this next year in May, I didn't compete in 2017. I was really dedicated to some things that I wanted to see through, and that's taken its course. And in May this year, I'm going to do the U.S. Open again, which I'm pretty excited for. So that'll be walked out squats and wraps at the U.S. Open. And, you know, I think they've got tons of money on the line and a lot of great lifters. So I think that'll be a lot of fun at that show.
You're doing a West Side type of stuff right now, right?
Yeah, so we've got a really tight training group. We've got a tight team, but there's about 6 of us that are always together, you know, kind of in our little group. And we've got a multiply guy.
Where are you from?
Kansas City.
So
Impact Elite Gym, soon to be Strong Barbell Club, starting in January. And so we've got this really
There's
tight
a lot of
group
guys out there baling hay, or what's going on out there?
Well, I mean, we've got
cattle.
We've probably got 5 top 10
cattle.
5 top 10 guys in the world on the team. And I mean, just a lot of high accountability and expectations, and just good people. And they've
Do you know that
played
kid that
sports
came out to Jesse's meet this year? That was from, well, I guess he's from Kansas.
Yeah,
You're not
Hartzell.
too. Is that his name?
Yeah, he's from like Western Kansas.
He's like in some shitty tennis shoes that look like they got run over by a fucking
That was
lawnmower.
crazy. I've never seen anybody lift in worse looking shoes.
Yeah, I
and
think
meet.
that Chad Wesley Smith used to do
That
that
reminded me of
before he
Chad.
kind of knew what was going on.
He
And
did our meet a year ago. It was his first meet. Or no, it was in April. That was his first meet ever. So
that guy's just,
it's huge.
it looks like he's not quite sure what the hell's going on quite yet, but hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully for the rest of us, he never figures it out.
You know, if you've been around sports a
I
long
guess.
time, that's the law of freaks.
Yeah.
There's a freak everywhere, and you're going to find them. And there's a lot of them in the Midwest. There's huge lifters in Iowa. There's big lifters in Omaha. There's big guys in our area.
Yeah.
And so our teams just we were at different gyms, and then everybody over time just congregated to us, and because we had the most consistent thing going on, and it was the best place to
I
get
was thinking
strong.
maybe you had food there.
We got pizza.
So often we have food there.
Talked about migration. I was just thinking.
People keep bringing candy to the gym for like intra workout, like sugar or whatever, and so far I think it's filling like 3 lockers. Like 'cause they keep bringing new candy after the candy's not done. And
That's
so
great.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the intra workout candy, but so our team's been doing really good, and so with our team of big guys, we're always trying. If we're going to try something new, why not try it on us? We're already strong. We're already responding great. Like we already are in a place where we've tried a ton of programs. Let's try something fun for ourselves. And we kind of need to doctor it and change it for everybody else too.
Right.
But for us, like we can just dive in and have fun. And I'm not too worried about it, you know. And a lot of stuff is training by feel. Like every session we've come in, you've trained by feel. I've trained by feel.
Yep.
And we figured it out as we've gone because we know what the heck's going on. So we've been doing kind of a conjugate system where we've gone through our first 5 weeks. We've rotated our bars and our accommodating resistance and the exercises we think we need to do to make our sets better. And we've got 2 multiply guys doing it and 3 raw guys or 4 raw guys. And then everybody else is doing kind of a doctored, version of that where it's a little bit easier for them and or where it's not so dangerous maybe.
Yeah.
And it's been fun. Like I've gotten back
It is
underweight.
fun to try new stuff, right? Different exercises.
Well, like today, we got into at the top of the sets. I think I was doing set of 2 with 945 on the safety squat bar. Well, I usually don't touch that until about 8 weeks out from the meet, and I'm like 24 weeks out.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling strong as heck. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, now I'm just going to have to build this wave and then kind of gently ride it for those last, 12 weeks to make sure I'm strong for the meet. And as long as you stay healthy and make smart decisions about it, then it's a pretty fun system.
Yeah, it feels good to have all those different exercises, and I think one thing that people should know about the West Side program is, that scene in The Matrix where they say there is no spoon. That's the key to bending the spoon.
Yeah.
I always kind of thought the West Side Barbell program is like that. There is no program.
Right.
It's like you do have a day where you go heavy and you do have a day where you're lifting for speed, but don't be so attached to any one thing because you could literally do anything as long as there's some change.
Right.
That's the most important thing.
Right.
So if you just weren't feeling it and you're like, you know what, I just don't feel great. I'm just going to do 3 sets of 10. Well, that could still be part of the conjugate system for that week.
Right.
It's a max for the given day too. So if you go back to that same lift and you don't PR, it's really doesn't mean that you failed.
Right.
It just means that you were stronger on this day today than you might be on another day. And who knows, the weights might be a little different, or there's a lot of circumstances that can lead to that. But I think that a lot of people get really, really attached to their programs. It says 7 sets, I got to do. They're so nervous about it, and there's so much anxiety, which I think that's cool that they want to follow the program, but you're only going to truly grow when you actually understand what it is that you're doing and being aware of what the fuck's going on is really important, and understanding that you could cut it a set or two short if you feel like it.
Right.
And if you feel great, keep going. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of variation within all that.
Well, yeah, people treat these programs and systems like a Bible, and really,
it's not what it is. Never. Even the Bible.
Yeah.
Interpretation, yeah.
So what does a regular week look like then?
So for us, a little challenging for having enough time to come in and get the 4 days. I've typically, over the last 6 years,
because you're working a lot.
I've trained 3 days a week, and sometimes it's 2.
Yeah.
I'm taking what I can get, and I train when my kids are asleep, and my wife trains before they wake up. I train when they're asleep, and we try to make our schedule work great, which it has for 6 years. And so we come in on Sunday and we squat because we have as much time as we need. So the kids go down for a nap, dad leaves, goes and squats, picks up groceries on the way home, right? So we always squat on Sunday. The bar moves at 2. So do whatever you get there as early as you need to. The bar moves at 2. That's also our day when any visitors will come, just like at your place. So, so 2 o'clock on Sunday is when we're going to squat, and it's always going to be heavy. And Tuesday we bench, always. And so that's our bench day. If anybody has work or a family commitment or whatever, they come in and squat on Monday. We bench on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we deadlift. And then we do our dynamic effort squat. And we are going to do our deadlifts heavy every other week because we can't handle it every week.
Right.
Yeah, it's just tough. So that's our setup. That's our schedule. And then we rotate in our accommodating resistance and our different barbells we're going to use within those.
So how many exercises in the course of a session typically?
Typically, we're going to do our main lift, and like always happens for me is like we're going through the main lift, and then our 2 big guys are still going an hour after everybody else is done, but they're through with one accessory and helping us out. So typically we're going to get through the main lift, and we're going to have a ton of sets of that all the way up to, like today, if we got to 7:45, that means we probably did 8 sets to get there, and maybe 9 because we did a quarter at the end. So doing 9 sets of squats. Sometimes we'll do some back off, but sometimes I'm fried. And so then we go over and we do the belt squat and did 4 sets of 15 with that is what we were doing there, and then went over and did leg extensions and curls, and then rode on the bike with a what am I
hip circle.
Hip circle, yeah. Yep. We rode the bike with a hip circle, and that was kind of lit up the outside of my legs a little bit. So what we're trying to do is come in, hit our main squat or our main lift as hard as possible, and then what we didn't do before as well, because we were doing a lot more volume and less intensity, now we're doing a lot more volume and lower intensity on our accessories. Okay. So we've had to hit those a lot harder and have more time for them. So.
And you're hitting up some walks, you said too, right?
Yeah. So a couple of us really, we're not satisfied with thinking we have to be, closer to 400 pounds to be strong. Like most of my meets have been between 350 and 365. And so we've been doing our 10-minute walks at the end of the deal, sometimes 20 or 30 if we're feeling crazy. And so for me, like if I get to an appointment earlier, I'm trying to hit my walk real quick. Cause when I drive, I get tight, my back gets tight, and I'm driving my Ultima around 40,000 miles a year. And so it feels good to get moving around. My physical therapist, John Harris, he was saying, one of the warm-ups he wants me to do, and don't tell he'll
Is he
know
a lifter?
now, but yeah, he's a Highland Games athlete.
Oh, okay, yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Real strong Highland Games athlete, and he one of the warm-ups he wants me to do, because we have turf like you guys do now, is somersaults.
Oh.
He wants me to do like forward rolls to get my upper back loose, because it's really good for your thoracic spine.
How about some somersaults in one of those Highland Games skirts, huh?
I own one. I looked up what the Price family color would be, and it was red and green, and it's pretty hot.
Wow. That's kind of like a schoolgirl outfit. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I see a lot of Instagram in your future.
I look more like the witch off of Matilda, the big gal. Yeah. She's hot.
I think a lot of times when people thinking of powerlifting and the way that some of these guys are, they're big and intimidating. A lot of times there's tattoos and goatees and beards, and a lot of guys kind of look like they're in like a biker gang or something. But what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of lifters are chatty, and I'm sure when you guys go on these like 10-minute walks, it's probably a good male bonding session.
Yeah, we're breathing heavy, but we're talking a lot. It's like, hey, so did you see that? But no, yeah, and it's funny. Like I have a beard because I play Santa semi-professionally.
Oh, there you go.
I shave it off after Christmas.
Do you really?
I keep the mustache for like a week, which my wife loves.
She hates it?
Call myself the sheriff. But no, so she works at a rehab hospital. She works at a rehab hospital, and they have little kids. And so I come in, and I played it 1 year, and I have my own professional suit. And I played it 1 year. My grandpa was a professional Santa.
What's a professional Santa suit look like?
I'm a semi-professional Santa. I don't get paid. So my grandpa was a pro, though, and his suit's too small for me. He's built like me, but a little smaller. And well, some of the kids, they don't have real good control over their hands or whatever. I don't want to ruin it. You play Santa one time, you will be serious about it for the rest of your life. So I played it for dogs, too. And somebody brought in a snake, and I was like, no, that ain't going to happen. My mom runs a dog rescue, so I did it for donations to their program, you know. And so then I got serious, and I was like, okay, I'll do it for kids now. And so I got my suit, and I had the beard, not good beard. I was afraid it was going to get ripped off. So the next year, I started growing it on January 1st, and I grew it for the whole year. So this one's a good 11 months right now. I've only trimmed it like 3 times. And then I color it that day because I can't have my kids see it. I color it that day, and then go into her work and color it, and then dress up and everything, and then go do it with the kids. And the therapists are cool.
Your kids sit on your lap?
No, you can't see me.
Okay.
I'm too worried. So that because they would know immediately. So their therapists like tell me the kid's name in my ear when they come up, so they like think I know, and and I give them a little gift and take their picture. It's fun.
That's really cool. That probably makes a lot of kids super happy. They're probably super pumped.
Probably, but
and nervous.
Selfishly, one of the most fun parts is on my way home, like making signals to other drivers as Santa.
Yeah,
you know,
that's awesome.
Or being a little inappropriate. That's fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Last year, I gave some candy canes. Like they gave me these Hershey Kiss candy canes to give to this lady and her husband. I think it was like their 60th wedding anniversary or something. And she was like 85 years old, and I was the first Santa she ever sat with and took a picture.
Oh my God.
Because she grew up like in another country. Her parents were in the Peace Corps. That was so fun.
Oh, that's cool.
So anyway, we're a couple weeks out from Santa right now. I'm psyched.
You mentioned that your mom has some really good cooking. What does she cook?
Biscuits and gravy, #1 favorite meal in the world. I eat other people's biscuits and gravy often just so I can talk shit about it. So it's flaky biscuits, sausage gravy. My dad can make it too, but it's not so good. He'll volunteer to help out, and I'm like, if you could just stay in your chair, that'd be fantastic. And so the sausage gravy, like so thick you can eat it with a fork, right? You know, no runny through. And then you got to put hash browns on.
Delicious.
Hash browns on top of the flaky biscuits and sausage gravy, and then over easy eggs on top of that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are you like a true fat guy where you get upset if one thing's like a little off? You're like, oh fuck.
My wife tried to make it one time for like my birthday.
Here we go, yeah.
She tried to make it for like my birthday, and I was like, she was like, is it good? And I was like, it's good. But she was like, well, I made it with almond milk. And I was like, why would you do that? What's your problem?
Just knock it off the table. What is with this?
You think that I grew up with almond milk in my home? Like, this is so dumb.
You just destroyed my childhood.
Yeah. I was like, if you're going to screw up on full fat milk.
Anybody else need more water? I did not drink out of this.
I'm good.
I'm just pouring. Okay. All right. Shout out to our sponsor, Compex Stim Machines at CompexUSA.com. Our listeners can get an additional 28% off plus free shipping on all models except for the lowest price one by using the code PowerCast. That's 28% off the top on any sales going on at Compex USA. So if you catch a good sale there and you use the code PowerCast, you get 28% off that. Is that correct, Mr. Smokey? It is awesome.
Yeah, my kids have been making fun of me because I've been using it again. It just makes your whole body kind of gyrate. But the other thing I've been wanting to do, but I don't have the guts to do, is go from my hot tub to my pool because it's cold out.
Right,
you know?
right.
And that's supposed to help with recovery too. But who has the balls to do that?
Well, I don't know.
It's too tough.
Matt Vincent converted a chest freezer, and he just gets his whole body in the damn thing. I'm afraid at my age that my balls would shrink up and they would never come back. They would never reinflate.
To never be seen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are easier ways to get some recovery in, so I like using the Compex.
Absolutely. So go to CompexUSA.com and use the code PowerCast. Mark Bell's PowerCast is sponsored by Health IQ, an insurance company that helps weightlifters get special life insurance rates. They're also the official life insurance partner of USA Weightlifting. To see if you qualify, go to healthiq.com/PowerCast today. So what makes Health IQ so unique? They use science and data to secure lower rates on life insurance for weightlifters and strength trainers. Historically, you get penalized by life insurance companies for BMI, family history, and other attributes, but you don't get rewarded when you live a health-conscious lifestyle. 56% of Health IQ customers save between 4 and 33% on their life insurance, which is crazy. That's actually a lot.
I wish you could get insurance on like your pecs and stuff. You know, like I blew out my pec like 3 times. So can we do that?
What I'd like,
will they have stuff like that?
What I'd like to have had when I was competing was lift insurance. That's just one letter off.
What about deadlift insurance?
Deadlift insurance. I could have used some of that. You really need that because, you know, going into a deadlift in a meet, you're beat, right? You're tired. You need all of the pre-workout stimulants you can possibly get.
And it kills you.
And it kills you. Absolutely. So to see if you qualify, get your free quote today at healthiq.com/PowerCast or mention the promo code PowerCast when you talk to a Health IQ agent. Just a word from our sponsor, Precision Nutrition. In the past few years, I bet you've heard or thought at least one of the following. This is for questions for our audience. Carbs spike your blood sugar and insulin, which prevents fat loss and causes fat gain. Carbs, especially sugar and grains, cause inflammation, and carbs are not an essential part of a healthy diet like fat and protein are. Have you heard those things? Have you thought those things?
It's a real guessing game out there. You know, you don't know what's true all the time. And I think a lot of us could use some help. And, you know, even in talking to you about your diet, we're on vastly different diets.
Yeah.
You know, our diets are quite a bit different. I'm not someone that really tracks stuff and really pays attention to the exact macronutrient breakdown. Meanwhile, you're following something that's totally different.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do that, yeah.
And you've lost some weight.
Yep.
And I'm following something totally different from you, and I've lost some weight. And it's really just a matter of finding something that's going to work for you. And I think you just hear that over and over again. It sounds very cliche, but I think it's very true. If you can find something and you can start to break some bad habits, then you can really start to get back on the right track. And something like Precision Nutrition is going to help lead you down the right path.
Yep. All of this seems obviously very simple if you just make it all black and white.
Right.
And what you're pointing out is the fact that it's really not black and white. Simplistic ideas about good food and bad food ignore biological complexity and the bigger picture of the whole diet scene. That's why our sponsor, Precision Nutrition, created a brand new free course for PowerCast listeners to dig into the science behind low carb and ketogenic diets. Visit get.pn/PowerCast and get access to the free course, which covers what the research tells us about low carb and ketogenic diets, how to know if low carb, keto, or something else is right for you or your clients, the difference between paleo style diets and low carb diets, which ways of eating are the most effective for health and body change, a step-by-step guide to finding the right way of eating for you or your clients, and much more. Not only will the course give you a deeper understanding of these topics for yourself, but when friends, family, clients, and colleagues come to you for advice, rest assured that you'll have the science-based, client-tested answers that they need. People ask us questions all the time, and we know what we know. But do we always know the science behind it? And can we always answer those questions in a way that's tailored to that person's particular needs?
Principle of awareness. It's a key component to anything, to gain further knowledge and to know why you're doing something is extremely important. The other thing is, have you been stuck losing weight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
And I have a very conscious effort towards losing weight. I'm exercising more. You figure out ways to eat less or to work your way out of some bad habits and things like that. And the only thing that's been successful for people that I've worked with personally have been people that continue to interact with me. And those are the people, because you really do need somebody. You think you can do it on your own, but it's very difficult. You kind of need someone to lead you to it. And so I think with Precision Nutrition, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a group of people that care and a group of people that are going to lead you to the right thing.
Trust me when I say this is some of PN's best work over the last decade. They've helped nearly 100,000 clients get their own eating on track, and nearly 50,000 professionals stay on the cutting edge of the industry. Consultants to companies like Apple, Equinox, UFC, and Titleist, athletes like the newest U.S. Open champion Sloane Stephens. They're doing amazing work, and you need to check it out. So if you want to understand the science behind the low-carb diet trend and the best way of eating for you or a client, grab the free course at get.pn/powercast. That's get.pn/powercast. Check it out, guys.
Check it out. Yeah, that's have your parents always been involved with like sports and stuff like that you played as a kid?
Yeah, my dad, he's like 6'3", 300. He's a big guy. Yeah. He looks like Dan Severn, 100%.
You got brothers and sisters and stuff too?
I've got a brother and a sister, and they were not as into it. My sister was a gymnast when she was young, and so my dad played college football. My mom was a bit of a gymnast when she was younger, but the best thing I ever found from her, she doesn't have a lot of trophies. My dad had some trophies and some stuff that he won when he was in college, and I found in a cedar chest in my basement, right? I hope your parents brought all this stuff from back home, but I found the cedar chest, and I opened it up, and I found a medal for a trampoline, and on the back it said 1970 City Tramp. And I was like, Mom!
City Tramp?
This is accurate in so many ways.
You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, 100%.
You're like, what the hell's going on?
But no, they were always involved, super supportive. Like, I played tons of sports as a kid. My parents were the ones that sat in the very back and were quiet and supportive, and which is funny because my mom's not quiet, but quiet and supportive. Never said a bad thing about a coach or a player or a referee. They just loved the crap out of me.
Yeah,
you know. So it was fun.
That's can be really hard for a lot of parents. A lot of times they're, they get, it's hard as a parent sitting there watching your kid and you're, watching them trying to hit a ball or whatever it is they're doing. So a lot of parents do end up getting fired up and carried away. Yeah. Were you pretty good at the different sports that you played? Like what sports did you play?
Oh, I played 5 practices of basketball, only thing I ever quit. And, but no, I was very marginal at baseball, not good at all. Good at football, good at wrestling, played football in college. Right. And, I mean, really other than that took most of the year. I mean, I did a little like shot put and discus and stuff, but really it was those. I wrestled all year round. Like we go to nationals in the summer. And really, I mean, what better workout for a football player to do all year that's fat than to wrestle? Yeah. Right? So I wrestled all year. I was on Team Kansas, and we go to nationals and dual nationals. And it was cool. It was fun to wrestle kids in other states, and that was fun.
Right.
I remember one time I was ranked in the nation in wrestling, but Cain Velasquez was right above me.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I was like 5th, and he was 4th.
You're like,
And now I see him, and I'm like, he kicked my ass. It's terrible.
So right now you are you have kind of a regular 9 to 5, correct?
So
you do sales or something like that, right?
I wouldn't say it's 9 to 5. It's real busy, and it's sales. I run high school athletic fundraisers mostly, and like other activities in schools, and I've loved it for 7 years. And I got to the point where it's real consuming, and I tried to take a step back from my hobbies to like really throw myself into that. But really, it just made me resent it more and like want to be in the gym more and want to be a part of what I really wanted to do more. And so that was tough. And that put me in a spot where, like the kids were wanting me to be around more. They're 2 and 5. I have 2 boys, Jack and Jay, and they're 5 and 2. And my wife, Jenna, and she has a regular 8 to 5 job where she's an occupational therapist. And so we're a busy family. And I wanted to be there more. I wanted to be truly more flexible. And the thing about owning your own business or working with a group where you're the only guy is if something has to be done, I can't count on anybody else to do it. Right. So that really became pretty consuming. Kind of got to that spot a few months ago where I was just really uncomfortable with it now, and I had to make a change. And so I sat down with our gym owner. His name's Luke, and he's really, really supportive of what we've done for the last 6 years and really never – taken anything from us, only gave to us, and we just gave him our gym membership money, and he let us bring in equipment and host meets and do anything we've ever wanted to do. And now he's letting us expand 6,000 square feet next door and letting me run it.
Wow,
so
that's
it's going to be the Strong Barbell Club, and I couldn't be more thrilled to run that myself.
That's really a good attribute, and it's a testament to the way you are as a person for somebody to trust you, in that way, because a lot of people might not get that same support, but you are you're very upfront, and you seem like an honest guy, and you're a lot of fun and stuff. But I think a lot of people don't think about the resources that they have around them.
Right.
They kind of scratch their head and they're like, "How did someone do this? And how did you do that?" It's like, well, I just asked.
I just told him, I said, hey, I need to try to find some opportunity. And I went through all the scenarios of what could be a dream for me to do, and it's a mile from my house, a mile from my kids' school. And I was like, how do I want to build my life? How do I want to be accessible to my family and my friends and the stuff that I love to do?
Right.
Well, I'm 33. I need to take a chance on it now. And it gave me that chance to do that. Well, they were already planning to expand, and then I was able to give that some direction and a vision and have the energy to push it through. And he's the kind of guy where he's not going to do everything himself. He's going to find the best people to do it that want to and are passionate about it, and let them run and not hold them back, but just approve of what they do.
Right.
And if you have that same kind of dream and you share it, and then he lets you do it, then you don't have to really ask a whole lot of questions.
What's that job going to entail?
So it'd be running everything that has to do with it. It'll be
selling memberships and things of that nature? Or?
Yeah, so there'd be memberships involved with it, coaching involved with it, the advertising and outreach of the gym, being with the team, putting on the meets, being able to add some meets, and add strongman and add some of those things that I've done this for just 3 days, a couple hours a day for a week. I haven't spent hardly any time on this, and it's already something pretty big.
Cool.
And I've already hosted meets and had a team, and now I'm actually able to spend time on it. There's so much more we can do. You know?
There's a lot of options, and I guess the main thing you're trying to do is just attract, right? You're just trying to attract people to come to the gym. They can check it out.
Attract and retain.
Right.
You attract other people on the team's lives has changed too. I want them to be able to, if I have to work night shift, now we can work with you. The regular gym's open 4:30 to 10. Well, we're going to be able to be 24 hours. We're going to be able to have scan cards. We're going to be able to have our powerlifting equipment out instead of locked up because people don't know what to do with it. And it's a good situation for the gym. It's a good situation for the community. We'll be the only place like our place in our area, you know? And people already drive an hour to get there every day sometimes. It's it's a destination spot, Tons of visitors, tons of people wanting to be coached, and we need the opportunity to offer it, and I'm the one that I think can do it,
A lot less excuses on why they're not powerlifting, right?
Right. Totally. Make it accessible for everybody. Generically, I'd say I want to make it a better place to lift.
Right.
Right. And that's the bottom line. And so now I got to come up with something different because that's yours.
That's right. Having something I've learned early on, and something that attracted me to powerlifting was, and you'll probably hate this, but if you just take the squat out, it's a lot more inviting. So if you you either bench press and or deadlift, you can do push pull. Right. But if you literally just have bench press.
Right.
A long time ago, I was recognizing that we were retaining a lot of lifters years ago, us as a gym, because we had like 8 or 9 bench only guys.
Yeah,
years ago, just because a lot of people are like, you know what, man, my knee, my back, my this, my that. They have a hard time. They struggle with the squat. They struggle with the other lifts, and they don't want to do it. And so, I guess my main point is just trying to find something that's inviting and having different, having strongman, have Olympic lifting, having powerlifting, all those different variations, and then even variations of the contest itself.
Well, the most inviting thing isn't this lift or that lift; it's the community by far, and it's how you present the community and interact with everybody. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but the most special thing about your gym are the people in it.
Right.
Yeah.
By far.
I think that we also found that having meets, running meets, brought people in.
Totally.
Oh, it helps.
Pretty routinely.
There has to be a schedule.
Yeah.
One of the big parts of our community is we will have a schedule on the wall everybody can read and be a part of, where you can choose your destinations and also ask to put your stuff in it, right? Something interactive, a living calendar, something that people can be a part of and want to be invited to. Sometimes what's missing from everybody's lives is being asked to be invited, right?
Right.
And because maybe they're not as forward as me. Maybe they're not as aggressive about wanting to get to know people.
Right.
It doesn't mean they don't want to. So having a living calendar is going to be a big deal. For us, a bunch of our team community, they lifted in the meet in October up in Iowa at 22nd Street Barbell. My wife competes once a year. That was her meet.
Oh, cool.
And so
awesome.
She deadlifted her PR, squatted her PR. She had a great day. And 15 of our lifters did, and me and our main coach, Mike, we went and handled everybody and had a blast doing that. But what happens after a meet's over? Exodus.
Yeah.
Everybody leaves.
Yeah.
Well, they don't get a choice, because right after that meet's over, there's a girl competing tomorrow who's new. Our meet's next week, and we require everybody to help, and nobody's allowed to lift in our meets because we have to have help. Right? We go lift at other people's meets. They come lift at ours. That's our new rule. Right? We've done that for a year, and it's worked awesome. So when you get into that funk, there's something that forces you back in. Okay, and even right before that, you know, we're having UFC fights at my house, and 20 people are over there watching it and having a great time. Right. We're going to movies together as a team. The girls are all going to see Wonder Woman. You know, right. One of the cool things, we have a girls team within our team. They call themselves the Ladybugs or Lady Bulls or whatever, because we have a bull as one of our logos. And somebody wrote Lady Bulls really big on the wall, and somebody put a little thing so it said balls. You'd appreciate that.
Lady balls.
The lady balls. But the girls, they spot the whole girls' flight at the meets.
Oh, cool.
I think that's awesome. That's so empowering. It's cool. Like, we want them to be that involved with it, and they want to own it too. So I think that's rad, you know?
That's cool. Yeah, the women in powerlifting have gotten so strong, and same with the females in CrossFit. It's insane the amount of muscle the women have put on. It's insane how strong they've gotten. You know, sometimes I'll see a girl on like Instagram squat 400 for reps, and you're like, when the fuck did this happen? You know, you're like, what? Yeah, you're like, what is going on? What's happening? There's girls now benching over 300 routinely. I'm seeing girls deadlift over 500 pounds. It's just getting crazy. And then you just have, there's so many freaks out there in terms of powerlifting. The stuff that like Larry Wheels is doing while being like shredded and everything. And there's just a lot of really gifted lifters, and it's really cool to see. It's cool to see the sport grow and expand.
There's opportunity. So I was in a high school doing a fundraiser, and a high school coach who knew about squatting. It was kind of funny. We're in his office talking, and he goes, "Hey, do you know this guy? He was the first person to ever squat 1,000 pounds." And I said, "I was the fourth." And he thought that was so cool. Yeah. And he invited me back to talk to his athletes in the weight room, because he really wants to have a strong weight room culture at that school to build better athletes. Well, a girl on the basketball team comes up, and she's like, "Hey, I mean, I don't know when I would have the time to come work with you, but I would love to be stronger too. I love the weight room. This is fun. Like, cool. I want to do this." And I was like, "Well, if I did a summer strength camp, would you want to come?" She's like, 100%. Well, now I get to affect this high school girl's life in that way. So the opportunity is a huge deal. When was that offered 20 years ago? You know, so now there's all this opportunity. There's CrossFit reach out. There's powerlifting outreach. It's huge. It's becoming a big, huge machine, and there's all different kinds of ways to reach people, and we haven't even scratched the surface of reaching them.
You've already squatted over 1,000. You've benched over 6. What are some of the goals that are in front of you?
Got to deadlift 8, right? That's the only thing left, really. I mean, if I didn't set another PR for the rest of my life, that's the only one I care about. I'd like to log press 450. I'd like to total 2,000 till I'm 40. You know, which is another 7 years. Yeah. I think those would all be things.
What's your best total?
2365 or 4 in wraps and sleeves. Right. So, because my bench got a little better, my deadlift got a little better. So they were 6 months apart, and so that's my total on both sides.
That's still really close.
I'd like 2,400. I'd like to get a bigger. I'll be in wraps, so if I could squat over 1,000, bench over 6.
Is 24 something by Ray? Is that the biggest total of all time?
It's like 24, 30 something. It's up there for sleeves. But then Andre's 25 plus. And honestly, I'm not real set on that. I want 2,400, and I want to make my list better and make my body feel better the whole time I'm doing it. You know,
it's important. It's important that you know, I think somewhere along the lines, in most places in in life, we get a message, and it's not always negative. You know, you're just like, oh, I'm not that guy, and I don't think that's bad. Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that guy lifted more than me. Who gives a fuck?
He's very special, and I don't. Right. One thing I've always had is I feel good about me, and
that's right.
And not to the point where I'm ever that comfortable not being great or trying to get better. Like, I always want to do that, but I'm not obsessed over being that guy or somebody else. Like, I don't care about that. I just want to be the best version of me, and that's not going backwards. So for me, like, everything's connected right now to getting my time in the gym, having back health, you know, and I've worked with my chiropractor, Justin, and who I already talked about, John, the PT, and I've just like assembled this menu of things that I like to do every day and week to feel better. And it's stuff that I'm getting into a routine of, like the walking, and I bought this inflatable hot tub I can do like body weight squats in and sit in a squat and like just play around on my phone and get loose before bed or before I go work out or whatever.
I saw when you walked in, you put your feet up on the wall and you're just moving around a little bit.
Make it a priority.
Yeah, that's always the part that we set the most barriers for, right? Like, we're like, oh, we don't have time for that, right? Yeah. But you really can mix things in, and I guess the other thing to think about is it doesn't normally take that long. Like, I saw you doing that and doing some stuff for warm up, but it's not like you spent an hour and a half on it.
No,
just a couple of minutes.
People spend way too much time on it. in general.
Right.
But you got to find. I want to find the most effective 15 minutes I can find. You found your most effective 10. It's walking.
Yeah.
I want the most effective 15, 20 minutes that I can do. Now, when I'm in the gym every day, maybe I do it twice.
Right.
But I want to find the stuff I have to do to get ready and go. And I'm not a huge believer in the fact that you have to be hypermobile or hyper ready or hyper warm. I warmed up for 10 sets. You know, so I'm going to do some, but there's a limit for that. But I've lifted for 21 years and I've only competed for 6. Yeah. So when you've lifted that long or you have that high of a training age, you're already ready and you already know what it takes to be ready. So I don't spend a whole lot of time on, obsessing over that.
You excited about being a part of this new gym? Sounds like a really cool opportunity.
I'm pumped, man. I like building communities around what we're doing, and I say it till everybody's annoyed by it, but you ever heard the thermostat analogy?
Nope.
There's 2 kinds of ways to measure temperature or set temperature. It's a thermometer or a thermostat. A thermometer, it measures to the room and then just kind of finds it and then stays there, right? So if you walk into a room and everybody's negative, you got a crappy attitude, right? Like Smokey was a little sassy this morning. I wasn't going to take that. I wasn't going to be like him today. I made him come up with me, and then he had a great day.
That's right.
Set a PR for 5 rep max.
Right.
So my thing is I want to
provide
thermostat.
That for other people.
I want to set the temperature and bring it all up around me. And not that it's about me, but I want everybody to feel good.
Yeah.
It's for them. It's for just feeling great in the space that you're in. And so I want to be able to do that and have that impact every single day that we were able to control. And it's hard to measure that, but it's not hard to try to find what emotion you want to hit every day. And that's what I'd like to be able to do.
Yeah, I've always felt that training, kind of provides that for us. I mean, that's part of the reason why you do it. And I think a lot of people that aren't training or don't have a goal with training, I think that training is underrated. I think it really is. I think the human body was meant to endure some tough shit.
Right.
And I think that when we do that, I think it strengthens our mind, our body, our spirit. I think it strengthens everything we have. And I think that people are they kind of look at it and like, oh, these guys are, powerlifting freaks or they're fitness freaks, and I'll never do that. Or it's like get engaged in something. Do something.
You know how hard it is for me to listen to somebody complain about being at the gym, or like being sassy about being in the gym or having a poor attitude. It's like, hey, look. We get to lift weights for fun. Like, this is a huge privilege. Like, I come here to have community. You're my only friends outside of my home. Like, this is what I enjoy doing. This is what I want to do. Right. And I'm sure not going to come in there. Now, maybe I carry over a bad attitude from the day, but here's where I get to reset and delete it.
That's right.
Here's where I get to rush my endorphins through my brain and have a great time the rest of the day. Right? I'm going to go to bed feeling great because I ended the day here. Or my wife who gets to start the day feeling great because she started her day there.
Right.
So that's what I want, and that's what I want to feel, and I think it is probably some of the best therapy there is besides having a good laugh. Right. So you can't take yourself too seriously with it.
Well, and I also think that having that be part of your day and being part of your schedule, you do end up having a spot where if that's what you're getting from it every time, then it's teaching you that.
Right.
And you kind of have that same response every time you go to the gym. You have a good time. In here, we're always fucking around. We're always joking around. There's days where people are grumpy. I mean, you can kind of tell they're quiet. But as soon as they do like their main set, as soon as they get a couple sets into it, you can kind of tell it changes, almost every single time. Now, sometimes you just want to have a shitty day.
That's why football practice was awesome in high school. Right? That's why it was great. Like, I could never understand people who had crappy attitudes during practice. I was like, we were playing sports. Like, we're getting praised to hit each other. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, this is so great. Like, you just got taught how to body slam people. Like, this is fantastic. So why we have a bad attitude about it? So this is just like that for adult life, I think it's great.
I think when you were talking earlier about people saying, oh, I would never want to do X, I'd never want to powerlift, or I'd never want to do CrossFit, or I'd never want to. I think that most of the time those people are saying that they do want to do that.
Sure.
They're just afraid.
Right.
They're just afraid they won't be good at it, or they're afraid it'll be harder than they think it's going to, or should be, or it's going to take more commitment than they have to give, and then it becomes a failure. I don't know. It always seems like people only call those things out when it's something that they would actually like to do.
I was the other day I was reading some post on Facebook, and Facebook's kind of toxic. I like Instagram better, but I was reading this post on Facebook, and it was some powerlifter complaining about powerlifting, and he's saying like, hey, you know, people think it's silly that you do this, or like, do people think that it's, you know, weird that you like go out and lift at a meet? And I was like, no, you have a crappy attitude. Everybody I talk to about it in public thinks it's super cool. Like, they think it's neat and interesting and different. Like, you're the only one that's complaining right now. It's like, just have a better time. Like, enjoy yourself.
You said you're a UFC fan.
Yeah, I love it. It's fun.
You've been watching it for a long time?
Yeah, quite a while. I mean, I think the first time I ever saw it, like, my brother and I didn't know each other when we were growing up, and then we did later. And
how did that work out?
He was born, adopted, and then found us when I was in 6th grade. And then our first time hanging out was a 311 concert. And he's 10 years older than me, and he went to school in Lawrence at KU.
How did you guys find each other?
He wanted to find us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wanted to find us, and then now I've got a big brother. It's great.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And he's got 2 kids, and he and his wife live in Lawrence, Kansas, which is close to us, and so we get together for holidays and stuff like that. And
that's crazy.
so
Is he handsome like yourself?
pretty good looking, but he's not as warm in the winter and shady in the summer as I am. And so, you know, but so he lived in Lawrence, and you know how it is when you find out you have an older brother. You're like, okay, we'll go to his house and sneak a few beers, and we went to the video store and rented UFC.
Oh,
wow.
Right? So we watched the UFC. Like, this was the first taste I ever got, and then I didn't see it for a long time. But I was like, I always remember Dan Severn and Hoist Gracie and like all that stuff. And being a wrestler, like I was into that part of it. So all the wrestlers love the UFC and the jiu-jitsu. There's so much that you see and it's in common, and the discipline it takes that you feel like you can relate to it, even though I can't hardly.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of that. I think like Joe Rogan says,
every day is a fight, right? I mean,
totally. I'm a warrior. I'm lacing up for battle when I go to the gym.
That's right.
So like Joe Rogan says, it's really high level problem solving. It's like, are you a boxer? Are you a wrestler? What's your favorite style? Who are you gonna pick the underdog? Like we talked about the last set of fights where all 3 champs got knocked out. I didn't see that coming ever.
That was crazy.
It was huge. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's a great sport to watch, and it you know, the question when I was a kid, people are always talking about martial arts, and they were talking about boxing, they were talking about wrestling, and they were talking about this, you know, jacked lifter versus this guy, or Tyson versus Bruce Lee, or whatever the hell the scenario was. And well, now you get to see some of that.
Yeah, totally. I think the coolest thing about that is, so for me, growing up in wrestling, I love, like, if anybody ever gets a chance to watch NCAA wrestling tournament in March, it's one of the coolest sporting events on TV. They're great kids. They're most disciplined of any athlete in college sports.
A lot of them are insanely jacked.
They're so jacked. It's a fun sport to watch, and they do a good job on ESPN of showing that. It's really cool. And then for them, when you watch that sport, that's great, but that's not a very accessible sport. Football is fun to watch for me, but I played a lot of it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, whatever. I'm not real. It takes a lot of time. It's you know, it's not always on Saturday for me. It's all days of the week. And but UFC, it's on a Saturday. It's once a month. You can kind of gear up for that. Like I get jacked up to watch it. It's fun. Like Ryan and I all week. The guy that's been out here with me, we've been talking about it all week long. Like it's going to be fun to find a place to watch the UFC on Saturday night. Like we want to watch it.
That big heavyweight that has the it's just the strongest punch ever recorded. So it's. Somebody else could possibly punch harder, I guess, but
yeah, I hope he gets choked out.
he's got the strongest punch ever recorded.
He can't move, and a wrestler just takes him down and chokes him out. You know,
it could happen, but no, that guy, I don't know. That guy moves pretty good too, so it's not going to be easy. He's fighting Alistair Overeem. I
have no qualms with saying like all those guys would just work me in a minute, right? But they're so talented. It's such a cool, talented, disciplined sport, and honestly, like those guys, the amount of work they put in, and it's year round. Like I just put what they do over every single other sport. It's fun to watch.
It's fucking complicated, you know.
Yeah,
I guess UFC 1, the first UFC ever, was only supposed to be a one-off,
a one-time deal.
They were all one-off shows. They were all one-off shows. Yeah. Like they just asked Joe to come in and commentate a couple of times. Like we'll pay you once or twice.
He actually did the interviews after the in-ring interviews after for free.
Yeah.
While he was still doing.
He wanted tickets for his friends.
Yeah.
He said he just wanted tickets for his friends.
Well, he's always been a fight fan and stuff, and he came in at UFC 13 and. UFC 13 is like historical for a bunch of reasons. It's the first time they had a heavyweight champion, and then also it was supposed to happen in Buffalo, New York, and they changed it the next day to fucking Alabama out of nowhere, and it almost tanked the UFC forever. Right. So it's pretty cool that that it's been able to survive, and that it's had. I mean, it didn't have ups and downs. It just had downs, and it just kept going down and down and down. But they were able to hold on long enough to really build a brand, and they figured out a way of turning it a little bit more into a sport. Because in the beginning, you know, Gerard Godot is the guy that he's in the first fight ever. I think it was him. And he kicks a Samoan guy in the face, 440-pound Samoan dude, or not Samoan dude, but a sumo wrestler-looking guy, comes after him and he gets him off balance, hits him with a couple stiff shots, and then just kicks him in the face. But the UFC was so barbaric back then that the ref wasn't allowed to stop the fight.
Oh,
so
that's
he
right.
jumped on him and pounded the crap out of him. And this is really disgusting, but Gerard kicked him so hard that he had teeth in his feet. Oh. And there were sponsors in the front row, and they got teeth shot out onto them. They're like, fuck this, and they left.
They could sell those.
And so, you know, they don't have kicks anymore on the ground. They obviously they allow the ref to come in and stop the fight, and sometimes he might stop it a little early, but that's there's got to be some sort of safety.
You know, there's a lot of UFC events now every year. But it's also a sport where, like, the big ones are only once a month, really.
Yeah.
And you can kind of pick and choose what you want to get into. Like, I'm really only into every couple cards because not that much time. I don't have time for fantasy football or baseball or basketball. Like, they're playing 3-4 days a week. Plus
I don't follow a lot of that either.
It's hard to keep up for me. Like, I'm not going to listen to the sports radio. Like, I like to, you know, cheer for the Chiefs and Royals and that kind of thing. But it's so hard for me to keep up with it all, where the UFC is this like thing that flows and moves and has its ups and downs, and it's just way easier to follow along with it. Now, it can be hard if you make it hard, but it's not for me. And you can just be a casual fan of it and enjoy it. I don't watch that many sports, so because you know, like I'm always squatting when the Chiefs are playing, so you know it's easy. And also, like, don't ever buy a jersey with another guy's name on it. That's weird.
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. What are you doing? You just want to give him some money?
That's really all it is, huh?
Yeah.
So have you checked out any good food here in Sac since you've been here?
So really important that I had Korean barbecue last night. Okay, I thought that was a good deal. Cooking that stuff in front of you, that's pretty fun. Like, it's kind of a community event, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And we like had the little octopuses, and we had the
bacon.
if you sizzle, if you like put it on the boomerang, you could see them like moving on the grill. That was fun for everybody. Because last year at Record Breakers, we ate at the same place down in Dublin, California. And I talked everybody into eating octopus, and I was in charge of cooking it. I did a terrible job. I was like, guys, I'm sure they're done. I'm sure they're done. And the girl there wasn't helping us. So I was like, I am so sure these are done. And they were so bad. Like Jordan Wong was like throwing it up, and the other guys were done. They were all eating it like champs, but they couldn't handle it. And they were super raw. Last night they were way better, super salty. But so we had Korean barbecue. That was good. We had Hawaiian plate lunch. I actually wanted a poke bowl, but the place we were looking for we couldn't find. So tomorrow after we bench, I need to know where you get your poke bowls.
Fish face.
Poke is my favorite food. When I went to Hawaii, we stayed on the North Shore, and poke is my favorite food. If I find any decent fish in Kansas City, which is hard to do, Costco is like the best place to find decent fish there. I make poke at my house. I'm a good cook. I like to smoke food, and I make poke, and that's so good.
I don't trust myself to make it at home.
You shouldn't, but it's good.
Yeah.
I'll give you a recipe. I sent it. I put it on my Instagram, and I was a little bit nervous because there's like some Hawaiians on there, and I didn't want them to judge me, and so I sent it to a couple first, and they were like,
people get all up in arms about everything on the internet.
You did a good job. They were like, you did a good job. It's okay. You can post that.
Yeah, we do poke bowls at home sometimes because there's a really good fish market here in Sac that sells sashimi grade fish, and
we
so
don't.
It's super easy to get that stuff.
We sell great steaks. One of my cousins married a guy who has a couple thousand acres, and he raises the cows the way I want them, and I just buy a half a year and put it in my freezer.
Oh, nice.
It's great. So we've got grass-fed beef, that's been finished on oats in our freezer all year round. So
that sounds delicious.
That's fantastic.
You have any other hobbies besides beating up your kids and stuff like that?
Beating up my kids, playing Santa, lifting weights. It's about
watching some UFC. It's all you got time for.
That's about all I got time for. So I like that a lot.
What are the kids into? 3 and 5? Probably not.
They're 2 and 5. One of them will be 3 soon.
Okay.
And they do like little gymnastics and sports, and they've done basketball, and we'll let them do anything they want to. I'll get them into wrestling a little bit.
What did your one son say to you when you were on your way out here?
Jack, my son Jack, he's 5. He's so adorable. My son Jay is way tougher. And Jack is my pleaser. He's the nice boy, and he's always like being nice to you while you're being mean to the other kid because he can't stop being nice, which frustrates you, you know? And so Jenna, I left before they woke up, and so Jenna's like, hey, Daddy's in California, and he goes, oh, well is he coming back? He says, like, he's like the one that doesn't mean to make you feel terrible, but he's like, oh, Daddy, I drew a picture of you so I could see you more. I'm like, oh, come on. So I actually
just stab me in the heart while you're at it.
I walked into they both go to the same like school and daycare type place, and I walked into the little one's room. Jay, he's 2, and voice crack there. I'm going through puberty.
Hey now.
So Jay, my 2-year-old, he's a little bit more ornery than Jack, right? And so we're trying to get him to crap in the toilet. That's a big fight in our house.
Oh my God, those are some good times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got poo stories, Mark, lots. And so Jay is going through that, and he's ornery. So I go into his classroom, and the teacher's like, he had a rough day. Like, crapped his pants, threw a chair across the room. Like, this is not going. And he's a sweet kid, too, but he selectively. And then I walk into the other one's classroom, and they're like, he's our best kid. He should go to kindergarten now. All right, cool. At least I'm half good at this.
Pooped his pants and threw a chair across the room.
Yeah,
I'm guilty of both of those things, for sure.
My biggest struggle lately is, like, if I get a good sneeze late at night while I'm, like, in the kitchen or something, I'm like,
shart yourself a little bit.
Yeah, you got to run to you're just, like, hoping that you got enough John Anderson in you not to ruin your shorts.
The deep cheeks.
Yeah. I'm pretty successful. I'm, like, 5 for 6 this year on keeping them clean.
1,000-pound squat, though. That butthole's been through a lot.
It has. A lot of wars. A lot of wars.
A lot of wear and tear over there.
Especially here at ST.
That O-ring starts to loosen up, and you have no control over it.
I try.
Got any good poop stories for us?
Valsalva. Yeah, really, the greatest poop story is the fact that it doesn't get better with age. It gets worse.
It just keeps getting worse.
It gets worse, you know? I'm good for a couple of years.
Hopefully.
Yeah. When we were looking at the new gym, I was like, hey, Luke, the owner, I'm like, hey, I'm going to take the toilet out. I ratchet it out, pull the toilet. And I was like, what kind of one do you want to buy? And he goes, honestly, knowing who's using it, we're going to get a good one. If the powerlifting team's in that room, this one's going to be special.
I don't know where you get those ones like that are at the airport.
Those
things are crazy. Those things are like they can suck everybody in the whole room down the fucking drain.
I get scared. So last night we were getting a little frozen.
Crazy.
We were getting a little froyo after eating the little octopuses, and so we're getting a little froyo. And I go to the bathroom and I hit the thing, and it was like a hair trigger that scares you. You barely touch it, and the thing sucks everything down. I was like, oh god,
yeah.
This is the most frightening toilet. It's like in Problem Child when the toilet's like, I want your pee pee.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
give me your pee pee.
I was at a
it's a scary scene.
Restroom the other day, and like I go into the stall, and there's shit in the toilet. I was like, God damn it! Like, and it's one of those auto flushers, right? And so I reach over and
what kind of magician let that happen?
Yeah, I hit the button. Yeah, like exactly. Was our vampire shitting in here or what? I hit the button and it clears the bowl, and I can sit down. That fucker's flushed 3 times before I got out of the stall.
But it can't do one for the other guy.
But it can't do one for the
I've got a tip of restroom etiquette for everybody. So I've been on the road a lot working. And I've had to go to the bathroom in a lot of rest stops. Don't cover your eyes. And I've had to go in a lot of rest stops. And I walk in, and there's this guy, a truck driver, in front of me, and he's like doing the shuffle, right? The shuffle. And so he's like got a hip circle on going to the back. And he runs into the stall, and I was like, you know what? I don't like it when those hand dryers are on because they're like a violent noise, right? Yeah. But I feel like he deserves me to turn it on because I think it's going to be noisy. So my tip to you is when you see somebody go in there and they're ready to run, you hit that for them so they can let it loose.
Maybe a couple times.
Yeah, just let them. I'm just peeing. I'm gonna do my thing, but I don't want him to be self-conscious. I'm gonna hit. That's a courtesy for me.
Yeah,
give him some cover. For heaven's sake.
Give him a warning shot. Let him have some cover.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I could go now.
He needs a wingman, a shitting wingman.
He can just let loose.
That was almost a really big problem right there. I almost did a spit take all over my keyboard.
You remember how to swallow.
Yeah.
Hey now.
Hey. But yeah, so that's my best shit stories lately.
Devastating. Well, get that toilet all souped up and everything. Get everything all ready to go. Sounds like you got some really cool things going on over there.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be awesome. So we got a lot of work to do in the next month. We're ready to do it. We've got everything set up. It's just an addition to our space we already have, and an addition, hopefully in community, addition in equipment, addition in square footage, and what's going to happen every year. And what I would hope is that I'm the kind of catalyst to be able to, keep that living calendar populated and everybody socially as involved in the gym as they want to be. And then for everybody to have a just great place to train, and I think there's a need for it. And I think that everybody's going to respond to it awesome. So I'm psyched.
Cool, man. Awesome. Sounds awesome. What's the name of the gym? Does Jim have like an Instagram? How can people find out more about it? Website?
Yeah, so you'll probably get most of the information from the new gym through me, and that's going to start really firing up in the next week because it's kind of coming out at our meet next week. And so Strong Barbell Club will be the name of it. Cool. Any information you need or anything, you can follow through me. I'm at JPLifts_Team IE on Instagram, which will change after the new year to the new gym name, but so that's an easy way to find everything, and we'll have our websites up and everything going, January 1. So I'm psyched about that. We got our first round of shirts printed and ready to go. And
cool.
And the team's excited just to see everything. As it's always grown, it's going to grow some more.
Yeah, it's going to be awful. Just be ready for that.
It's terrible. Terrible.
Multiply your hustle, multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell on Instagram and Twitter. Catch you later.
Shout out to all of our sponsors. 8Man Apparel at 8manstrong.com, bodybuilding.com for all your supplement needs. Compex USA for cutting-edge muscle stim machines. Get an additional 28% off, and that's 28% off even if something's on sale. If you use the code PowerCast on all but the lowest price model. Reebok.com, home of the Legacy Lifter, the official shoe of the PowerCast. Increase your bench at howmuchyourbench.net. Get 15% off slingshots with the code PowerCast. Power, the only strength magazine available in both digital and print at thepowermagazine.com. Precision Nutrition. Get the free course, especially for our listeners, at get.pn/PowerCast. That's get.pn/PowerCast. And Health IQ, the life insurance company with great rates for weightlifters. Go to healthiq.com/PowerCast and see if you qualify. I am at the Jim McD on all the social medias. Follow the show on Instagram. We are at Mark Bell's PowerCast. You can also find us on Facebook at The PowerCast.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bud. Thanks.